Hello everyone, welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting tutorial, we're trying to see how to build a very simple application using PyGWalker and then Flask. So this is what we're building, in which we have a simple application like this, in which we can upload some files, right? So if I come back here, I can upload a particular CSV file. So let's say this one, and then once I upload it and submit, so let's try it again. Come back here, submit it. We have the file submitted, and then we can do some visualizations. I can bring the status as my y-axis, and then let's add the row as I can add the age as the x-axis, can add the row as also the y-axis, right? And then you can add some stuff to it, like let's say the status as the color. Perfect, right? So how do you build an application in which you are using PyGWalker and then Flask, in which you can upload some file and do some analysis? So the basic idea behind our app is that we will have two sessions. We have the front end and then the back end. So in the front end, we will have an option to upload a file. And when the file is uploaded, we're going to save the file, and then we are going to process it with PyGWalker and Pandas, and then we're going to render it to the front end, right? So that is the basic workflow for application. So let's see how to build this app from scratch, right? So how do you build this simple app from scratch? So we start from scratch. So I'll stop everything, and then we start writing some code. So let's go back again. Let's stop the old one, right? Perfect. So let's start writing some code. So this is our app, and this is the location that we have. So in case you don't have any of them, you can just, let's go out from here. Let's make a directory. Yeah, perfect, right? I'm going to make a directory, call you can call it as, let's say, data app, right? Or data Flask app, something like that. And I'm moving to my data Flask app, and then I'm going to install the package. I've already created a virtual environment, as you can see. Then I'm going to install the package I need. So people install Flask. We also need to install Pandas, PyGWalker, and then Flask re-uploaded, right? So these are the packages that we using for our app, which I have already installed. Then I'm going to create my first file. So app.py, going to make a directory called static, and then another directory called template. So we have this option here, so static and template, and then we can now open it with VS Code. So let's open it with VS Code, which is here. So this is going to be our backend, and our front end is going to be here. Inside our static file, I'm going to create a directory called uploads, where the files will be uploaded, right? So let's start. So we start from scratch and build a very basic backend. So it's going to be from Flask, import Flask, right? And then we also need to import request and then render template. Perfect. And then we will create our app. So Flask, which is going to be __. We can just go without this. So ___ name. Perfect. And then we need to create an if _ name, right? So that because we want to read it from the file, not because we want to read it from the file, but because we want to run the file as an application main. Then we want to go with app.run, then debug is equal to true, so that we see some logs, right? That's a basic overview of the app. Now let's create our first route. So it's going to be my app.route, and this is going to be our basic route, which will be for our index page. We doesn't take any method, and then we are going to return render template. I'll pass in my index.html. Perfect, right? So we need to create this index.html to see the app, right? We also need to create another route, which will be called the uploads route, which will take in my /upload, and this one will go with my def upload, and then we will pass for now. Perfect, right? So let's see if our app is working. So I'll just go back again to VS Code, terminal from here. Let's switch from PowerShell to command prompt. Clear. And then as you can see, we have everything there. So we have the app.py, the static directory, and a templates directory. So let's run it. So Python app.py, and it's going to run on this particular app, and then we can follow this link, right? So it's saying that template not found, so we need to create this template file. So I'll go back to my template directory, and I'm going to create my index.html. So this is going to be our front end, and then let's create our basic HTML page. So perfect, everything works. Let's give a div h2, and then I'll call it as PyGWalker Flask App. Perfect. So if I refresh it and I go back here, so we can see the text that was rendered here, right? Perfect. So that is most part of the app. Now let's move out from here and let's do some stuff, right? So what do you want to do? You want to add the option to upload, right? So form, and this is going to take in the input type. We change the type from this to file because we want to upload the file. I'm going to call this my data file. This is very important. And then I also need a button, which is going to be my submit button, right? The type of this button is going to be a submit button. So if I save it and I refresh, we have our button here, right? Perfect. You can add a beautification later. So this is going to take in a method, and the method is going to be post. And because we want to upload a file based on our workflow, which we had, which was here, so we have a file upload, we will need to tell the front end that we want to be able to accept some file, right? And how do we do that? We use the method post, but we're using an encryption type called multipart form data, so we'll be able to receive files. And the action is going to be the route that we want to go. So in our case, this route is going to be my URL for, which is going to be the uploads, right, route. So this route we have to create. So I'll go back here to the upload route, which is the same route, the same one we are having here. Perfect. Now let's see how to work with it. So we're going to say that if the request.method is equal to post, because we specify that, okay, the method we are accepting is post here. So if the person sent the file, is going to go through post. So if it is post, and then we have a request dot, and we have this thing here, we have my data file inside my request.files, right? This data file here is referring to the data file name here. If that's the case, then we want to get this one out. So we will call it as my file, which is going to be my request.files.get this dictionary. Then I can just go with the same data file. Perfect. So we are getting the file, right? But I have to specify the method, so I can specify the method that I'm allowing. So we have the methods that we want to allow here. So methods. In our case, I'm allowing two methods. I'm allowing get and then post, so that I can reload the same page, right? So do the two things on the same page. Okay. So what we need to do is that we have gotten the option of uploading a file, but we need to save it so that we can process it. You can also do it in memory, but it's better you save it, right? You can use temporal storage. So let's save to file storage. So how do we save to file storage? So to work with saving to file storage, I'll go back and use Flask upload. So from Flask, we have uploads. I want to import the upload set and then configure file uploads, and I also want to specify the type of file, so all for everything, and there's also data in case you want to receive data file. Then I need to do some configurations, right? So let's also import, so from worksig, utils import secure file name. So the reason we are using secure file name is that we want to still secure the name that the person uploads. If the person upload example dot, let's say CSV, we are going to preserve that same name, right? That's the basic idea behind it. Perfect. So let's do the configuration. So this is going to be the configuration. So first I'm going to specify that, okay, I want to get all the files, right? So upload set, and this is going to be, you can give it any name. So I can call that files, and I can say I want data in case you want to receive data or images. So you have to import it from here. But in our case, we are just going with all for now. We can also make it data, right? So that is specific. Then I want to configure the app and specify where it will be uploaded to, right? So uploaded files destination, right? And this will be my storage, or we call it a static, and then inside my uploads, this static upload is coming from here. If you go back here to here, we had static and uploads, right? So that is what this is referring to. We also need to do the same thing to limit the size of the files we don't want to take. So content length, and I don't want more than 1024 by 1024, right? So just 1 megabyte for now. We can change it, and we can also specify the type of files we want to pick. So this, we can also use the allowed extensions, and then you do another processing, or you can just go with the upload extensions, right? And this takes a list, which is going to be .csv for now. That is all that we need, right? And now we can just go with the configure uploads. I'll pass it my app so that Flask will know that, okay, there is a part of the app that can process file uploads, right? That's a basic understanding behind this one. Okay, perfect. Now, since we have done that, anytime we upload a file, we can save the file to storage. So let's give the path to save it. So path to saved file, which in our case we will be using, so os.path.join, we have to import os. Then I'm going to specify the static uploads, and then the file, right? So file.file name. This is okay, but if the files have, this is automatically going to assign a name, but we want to secure the file name. So how do we do that? That is where we come with the secure file name. So let's import os, and then let's use the secure file name. So I'll just take the same stuff and call as my file name here. Then I'll use the secure file name. I'll pass in the file.file name. So that from henceforth, I'm not going to be using this. I'll be using the file name here, right? And how do we save it? We can save it like file.save. So this file is coming from here, right? Then I'll specify the path to save it. Perfect. So this is how to save our file. Now we can now move on from here and do the processing. But let's show what we have done, right? I want to show the file name, so I can just go to return render template. I'll pass in my index.html, and I also want to pass in the file name. So go to the file name, right? The file name we are getting. Perfect. And then so this is if it's post. Now what is if it's get? So if it's get, you go to the default, so return render templates. Then I'll just go with my index.html. Perfect, right? So everything is working. So let's go back and check our app. So this is the app. If I refresh it, if I go with choose file, and I pick this one. Notice that the size is big, right? So since it's big, you're going to see, okay, let's use this one. Since the size is bigger, you're going to see an error. So the data value transmitted exceeds the capacity limit because we specified that this is the size. If I go back and I pick a smaller file, so let's choose this one, and it's 1 megabyte, 1 kilobyte, it went, right? There's no error. And if I go back and I check here, you can see that the file was saved inside the static uploads, which is the same place we specified here, and then the same stuff we did here. Perfect. So our app is working. So we can change this one. Let me add another 0 to it. And now let's do the processing. So we have seen how to work on the file uploads, how to save it. Now let's work on the processing and how to render it back. So I'll go back again to my application, which is here, right? And let's work on the processing. So the process we're using Pandas. So I'll go back to the top. Let's import Pandas as PD, and then I want to import PyGWalker as pig. Right, and we will first load the file. So pd.read _csv, and I'll pass in the path to the save file. You can also use session storage here to get the path, but I prefer this one. And then I can now read it, right? So let's go to HTML string, and this is going to be my PyGWalker.walk. And as you can see, PyGWalker takes in the dataset, and then it takes in different formats, right? So for Jupyter, for Streamlit, the rest, but there is this return HTML. By default it's set to false, but we want to get it as true. So this is going to be my return HTML to true. Okay, so now the results is going to be returned as HTML stored inside this variable, and now we're going to change this one from here to my HTML string. Let's go to HTML string. You can also use a dictionary, right, for the context, because if I go back here, there is a context, so you can put a dictionary and use it. But let's go with this option here, right? So it can also be a dictionary in case you want it to still work. So let's go back here, and now I'll go to the front end and reference this stuff here. I'll go back. So let's go with div. To reference it, I'll just go with this option here. Perfect. If I save it, and let's go back to our application, which is here. Let's upload the file. I'll upload this one. If I click on this, submit. Perfect. Our app is working. The data have been saved. The data have been rendered, but this is not user friendly, right? Because we are returning, this is what is behind the scene for PyGWalker, right? So all this HTML stuff with JavaScript stuff, which doesn't make sense. So how do you make it nice? How do we render it? This is the next session. How do we render this one? So we just go with Ginger syntax. So I'll use a pipe, filter, then save. This is coming from Ginger, and now if I refresh it, so let's submit, and now we have our app working well, right? Perfect. So that is all. So everything works. If I go back to the data, you can see that we have our data here. If I go back to the visualization, I can visualize the row count on the x-axis, and then this one, the continent, on the y-axis. Perfect, as you wish, or anyhow you want it to be. We can also change it in case you want. Make it like this. Perfect. Let's upload a different data set that has more data. So let's go with this. Submit. We have it here. I can give the row count on my x-axis, the age also on my x-axis, or you can say on the y-axis. You can give the status anyhow you want it to be, right, based on what you want. You can also give the personal status, and then we can also add some color to it, or the status as color. Perfect, right? So you can do a lot of things with this wonderful application that we have built, right? So the basic idea behind all that we have built is that we just follow this approach. We have a file upload session for our front end. We upload a file, we save it, we process it with Pandas and then PyGWalker, and then we render it, right? So this same idea can be used for Flask, can be used for Streamlit, can be used for Django, for Tornado Portal, for any of the applications, right? Even for Julia. Perfect. So that is a bit understanding, right? So that is how to build the app. So this is what we use to receive it from the front end, and then when we save it, we save it, then we process it, and then return it back to the front end. So thank you for watching the tutorial. In case you have any question or contribution, you can put it in the comment section below and check the link below for more. See you another time. Stay blessed. Bye. Cheers. So every part of it works. Bye. So every part of the application works, as you can see.